time here on day 8 of the TTCB T20 Festival. We have the captain of Bess Marchin Patriots, Adrian Ali. We have captain of Merryboys Sports Club, Sora Royal, as well as match referee Afraz Mohammed and Rajendra Purai. So without further delay, let's have this toss. Let's
So there you have it there, the Marchin Patriots. They have won the toss and elected to bat first. So we should be seeing their openers coming out in a short. Merryboys are in the field, and they'll be hoping that they can get one over on a surging Patriots outfit. Hoping that they could at least turn the tables on one of the favorites of the tournament at the moment. So Bess Motors Marchin Patriots will bat first after they won the toss. So again, these are very important games for all of the teams. Everybody wants to get momentum going into the playoff stage. So it's important for teams to pick up their points now and just focus on what is in front of them, which of course will be the playoff picture and everything else that comes with it. So it's another interesting game. Now they're playing on a strip on the far side. So unlike the last couple of nights, the smaller boundary is to the east, whereas the bigger boundary is to the western side of the ground. So players, I'm sure, will work that out and figure out which is the side that they're going to probably attack a little bit more than some of the others. But it's always very interesting to see how players make their adjustments as they go along. Justin Manick it is who is going to open the attack. And the first ball is cut away nicely. And a good bit of fielding out there. They really should have challenged for a second run. We saw how the under 19 Stars last night really put pressure on their opponents, set them up nicely in the end to the point where they really coasted. So it will be interesting to see how these other teams, the more senior players, how they approach the running between the wicket, that aspect of their game. And edging away, for a moment it looked like he was trying to leave the delivery and just kind of followed the bat. And but he got 4 runs all the same. Chandapal Hemraj. You just look at it again, see if he was pulling the batter. It was a late decision to play. And yeah, he kind of played it very late indeed, just kind of hung the bat there. And luckily for him, he got a thick enough edge to get it away from the short third man. And down to the boundary, it went for 4 runs. So first boundary of the innings. And again, that's a good delivery. That is played well in the end. Hemraj playing it straight. Let me say congratulations to all my Manchester City friends. who give me no grief, or no end of grief, I should say, about their successes. And a 1-0 win today over Chelsea to win the FA Cup. And at one time, the most prestigious trophy in club football, the English FA. I remember as a kid, you lived to see the FA every year in May. You kind of live for that. I remember when I was at university, I used to try to make sure and be home for that second week in May, just for the FA Cup. So the FA Cup would be like on a Saturday, and I would probably fly in to Trinidad on a Friday or the Thursday, because university in the US would probably finish, exams finish like the first week. And so so pretty much wrapped up everything by that time. It's another good delivery from him. Unfortunately, bad miss there. He seemed to be getting everything behind the ball, and at the last moment, he went with one hand, and that was the difference there. Jason Agard, he's primarily left-handed. He went with that right hand, and I think the ball did a little, almost like a leg break, and spun past his hand. That's another good delivery. He's early attacking the stops, and it just seems might be something in the ground, because here again we see another fielder having to make a late adjustment to get a hold of the ball, and that was Baj, who was comfortably behind the ball, and then at the last minute he had to kind of make a little dive to corral it properly. But at least in his instance, he did stop the ball. Another good delivery, and immediately they set off and complete another single that will end the over. 11 from it. 11 for no loss after one. So both batsmen getting a fair amount of play so far. Just the first over. Amir Ali looks like who's going to pick up the attack. And Amir Ali, I'm sure, would want to, you really want to get a couple quick wickets just to put a little fear in the batting lineup. And sometimes when you get quick wickets, it sends a little panic in the dressing room, and the guys looking on from the outside might think the ball is doing something outrageous, when in reality it may not be doing so, but it's just to plant that seed in the minds of the batsmen looking on. In the air it goes. Luckily, he got it forward of square, Kamil Puran. Didn't seem as if he was really committed to that shot. He just played it, probably relaxing a little bit, knowing that there's nobody in front of the bat on the onside. Close in, that is. Everybody else, the two on the onside, are out on the boundary when he is batting. Now that the left-hander has come in, there is a short third man, a sort of a backward point, a cover point, and a cover as well as a mid-off. The long one and deep mid-wicket are the two men on the boundary, and then there's a short square leg and a fine leg, a short fine leg as well. Trying to dab it, and immediately they set off a very well worked single. And Again, the players who are in those areas, you really have to attack the ball. From the time the batsman shapes the play and you realize it's not an attacking shot he's playing or an aggressive shot, you have to be on the move. It's not about waiting by that time, because what you really want is to sort of anticipate and then cut down the distance that the ball is traveling to get to you. The umpire is waiting. Why? I'm not absolutely certain. I think he's communicating with his colleagues in the umpire's room. There we go. All is well. There it goes. This one is in the air. Over the top it goes. And that's a good hit that goes all the way for the first maximum of the day. And we anticipate it will be the first of many, as Bess Motors Marchin Patriots looking to post a big one. A couple nights ago, we saw them pull off a measured victory. And of course, they had to thank Reefer for a splendid innings. That's well played. And again, it just shot in front of the fielder there. Luckily for him, it didn't go past him. But again, you look at how he was approaching the ball. He was just basically standing straight. Turned away again, and comfortable run once again, which is good to see. At least they're taking the singles that are on offer. And again, I would still like to see them maybe push harder and force the fielders into error. 14 to Puran. Hemorrhage is 6. Best Motors are 20 without loss after 2. So Manik is going to continue from the top end, or the Jerry Gomez media center end. What we in the past we used to call the commentary box end. That's when we had the concrete stand. The schoolboy mound was to our left. And just eluding the grasp there of the keeper, Schwitten, he just got a glove to it, and it brushed off the thigh pad, it looks like, although it looked very close to the glove there, to the bat. The keeper got a hand to it, almost like a snow cone catch. You could see the ball just on the tip of the glove. And but he couldn't hold on to it. That's well played. That's a glorious shot for 4. Again, that is the small side of the ground. So once he's able to beat the inner ring, it's very difficult for the fielders to catch up to anything that is well placed and well struck, like that one was. And that's a good looking shot there from Kamil Puran. That ought to give him a lot of confidence. Remember, there are 4 fielders there. There's a mid-off, extra cover, and a point. This one hit straight. That's even better. That's going to be 4 more. So talk about hitting it where there is no one. That's exactly what he's doing there. He's placing the ball. He's finding those open spaces quite nicely. Of course, he's using the aerial route on occasion, but it doesn't matter. In these power play overs, it's just about accumulating runs. 32 without loss now, as they really they've stepped on the gas here and trying to really bat Merryboys out of this contest if they can. And he goes again. That's even better. Well, what an assault this is here from Kamil Puran. And Justin Manick is probably as bewildered as I am, because those are not bad deliveries. If anything, he's probably a little too close to the batsman. And Puran is just clearing that front leg and just timing the ball sweetly. And again, he's gone with him again, and he's gone even further this time for a maximum. So read it. The first one was 4 leg byes, then 3 consecutive 4s, and he then spoiled that sequence with a 6. So it's 4 4s and a 6. So this has been a very, very productive over so far for Kamil Puran and the Patriots. Amir Ali, who is at mid-on, is back in position. He hasn't changed his position. He's still at the edge of the circle. A slow one, hit hard, straight to the man. He drops it. He had 2 bites at the cherry there, and he just couldn't hold on to it. Kisundat got it in both hands in the air. Then it bubbled out of his hand. He was falling backwards. It fell into his hand again, but then when he hit the ground, it just came out. So a good effort, but it was hit hard. A good slow ball from Manick. So good thinking on his part. Of course, Puran was trying to get probably a little more elevation. He didn't, and he almost paid the price with a spectacular effort coming from Narad Kisundat. But at the end of the over, it reads 42 without loss now after 3. So I would imagine Amir Ali probably very wary now. He knows he cannot stray at all in line all length. These two look like they're in a real good mood for batting. And so he has to be spot on. The umpire is, I think, is the bowler. I don't think he's cautioning, but he's probably warning him that he's very close to encroaching on the sensitive area, which is almost the exclusive domain of the batters. The umpires don't ever like bowlers to encroach. So Amir Ali would probably have to, just in his follow through, veer off the crease rather than down the wicket. And whether that affects him, we have to wait and see. But you could see when he delivers and his body comes across, he tends to go towards the stump or to the middle of the pitch. He's bowling around the wicket. And that leg, there he goes, caught and bowl, as easy as you like it. And Kamil Puran, who was in a no-nonsense mood, is out caught and bowled, Ali, for 32. So he goes back. It's a good delivery. Again, just a little change of pace. And Puran couldn't resist. He was on the front foot again, trying to drag, but he never got over it, and he didn't get under it sufficiently. And he just spooned a simple catch back to the bowler in his follow through. Again, we were just looking at where he ends up after delivering, because when he delivers, he kind of, he swivels on that front foot, and almost like an axis. And so when the left leg comes through, it goes towards the pitch, and that's what the umpire was referencing with him. But I don't think he had any complaints with the caught and bowl. He handled that beautifully. So it'll be interesting to see how he did for that particular delivery, the one that he got the caught and bowl, although it was played back to him, and he went wide, and again he set himself. He had a good base to move either way, left or right. He had to go to his left. Look at that wide stance after he delivered the ball, and he was right there in position to accept the catch. So Tishon Castro now. He has had some pretty decent knocks. And first ball, again, brimming with confidence. And immediately he's on the front foot. He had 39 the last time out. Really trying to hammer that one, but the timing was just a little bit off. The end of a pretty decent over, and at the end of it, just the one run coming from it, plus the wicket. It's 43 for one. So the fall of that wicket probably changed the plans just a little bit. You could see the captain and some of his senior players having a little discussion there, because had Kamil Puran stuck around for this over, I am almost certain that Manik would not be bowling it. But because he has been dismissed, they've decided that they're going to persist with him. But that was a real eye-opening that he received there from Kamil Puran. And Hemraj just threw in the bat there, not really making any sort of contact. It just seemed to be a little bit late. Manik does have the ability to change his pace quite nicely. And that might have been the quickest ball he's bowled so far. It was a slower one that Puran almost got caught at mid-off in the last over. Again, another well-judged single. In the end, not much that Badge could do about it. But this is the man here now. Can he get going, Tishan Castro? They're really going to need him to settle quickly if possible. And this is really good bowling from Manik. And like I said, you got the impression after that horrific second over that he bowled, when Puran was all over him like a bad rash, he lives to fight another day. Another comfortable single. So, and again, look at how deep these players are. None of them are really attacking the ball in the circle. They all seem to operate at the edge, just around the circle. So there, there are tremendous opportunities for the batsmen to steal some quick singles. That's because the fielders, all of them, or a few of them, if any at all, tend not to attack the ball. They tend to wait a little bit until the shot is played rather than anticipate where the ball and this is going. Here's a loud appeal. The umpire, though, not interested. And once again, they get a single. And it just seems that all of the fielders are sort of content with giving them the single. And I'm not sure that is a good strategy. Somebody, they should at least work out among themselves on which side of the wicket who's going to do what. One of them should be attacking the ball all the time. So as the bowler bowls, he should be halfway to the wicket. But they all kind of hung back. That's a good shot again. And a bad line there from Justin Manik. He was probably kicking himself. A pretty good over, but he spoilt it with that last delivery that went for 450. It's on the board. It's 50 for 1 after 5. Tomorrow, of course, is the big day, the final of the Cricket West Indies Regional Championships, the 4-day version, a different look to the competition this year, where we had 6 teams competing, and 2 matches were played simultaneously in Antigua, and the other one up in Jamaica. But the same 2 teams faced each other in 3 rounds. And of course, Guyana went automatically to the final. Trinidad joined them there by beating Barbados. And he bowled him again, coming a little bit late there and trying to pull that one through. But there goes Chandapal for 9. Chandapal Himraj bowled all over the shop there. He really played around that delivery. And in fact, he was looking to play through the onside. And Ali just slipped one through and he tugged it onto the stumps. He was trying to hike it on the onside, close the face a little bit. It came off the inner edge and then onto his stump, his leg stump. So it's a 50 for 2. And Ali is proven to be the destroyer so far. So Kirsten Kalitran is making his way. And I've said the last game he didn't last very long at all. I think it was with one ball he faced, but he is he has been batting very well. In fact, he's been surprisingly good with the way he approached the limited overs game. I mean, his game is not a slugging game, but he does generate a fair amount of power. So when he hits the ball, he hits it pretty hard. And you add that to the wonderful technique that he has as a batsman, and you're beginning to see that he's kind of working out his own game and probably is more relaxed, as I say. He's comfortable in his skin as a batsman now because you could see he's a little more relaxed and he's attempting to build his innings. Another good delivery, but just a little bit off the stumps. Kalichan thought about playing and then opted not to. So brilliant sunshine here at the Queen's Park Oval, and welcome to one and all if you're watching us on 360 TV. And it's good to have you here. The Oval really looks a picture as the T20 festival put on by the TKR and the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board is in full swing. And there's a little stifled appeal, wanting that single there, but Castro was adamant. Then Kalichan, who didn't really move, didn't entertain the idea of a single. This time, he comfortably could complete the single. A lovely little on drive. He does play that shot very well, Kalichan. Again, and there's the carelessness because that ball went bouncing down there. And this is even more incredible. Look at how far that throw has to come from. And they had more than enough time to probably squeeze another run. Instead, they just opted for a single. The over comes to an end. 2 for 12 now to Ali. It's 52 for 2 at the end of over number 6. So Andrew Rambaran is going to take over from the top end. Justin Manny gets a breather. He has one in reserve. And here's a real agricultural shot that Castro almost played on to. He just went trying to sweep a delivery that somehow had him stretching. Luckily for him, the under edge flew past the stumps. That's more like it, putting that long barrier in the position. And because even if it bubbles, you want it to hit you in the body and bounce in front of you. Another good sweet on drive. This is one of the hardest shots to play in cricket, the on drive. But we've seen two good examples here, one from Calitrano, one from Castro. Castro again not able to take advantage. He's a big, strong man. He loves to plaster the ball when it's pitched up in particular. So it's a very decision. It seemed almost waiting till the very last moment before starting to walk into the shot. Cut away nicely. That's 4 runs. From the time he gaps it, it's going to run away for 4. That's the short side of the boundary. It's 4 good-looking runs now for the Bess Motors Marchin Patriots as they continue to soldier on here. And after 7 overs, it's 59 for 2. So Castro it is, who's getting ready to face up to Ali. Very well played. Another comfortable single. That's the kind of shot that would give you a lot of confidence because it's hit in the middle of the bat. Yeah, they have to really be mindful of what the batsmen are doing. And the bowlers will have to make the adjustment. And Ken Castro wants to really launch it out of the ground possibly, but for the moment just seems to be miscuing. This time you can't get it through. Captain again, and the timing though is not what he wants. And that's because the bowler isn't really putting any momentum in the ball. The batsmen are being asked to generate the power, as well as the placement and the timing. This time he's really going hard, and once again the fielding is not the best because he had more than enough time to get his body behind the ball. He did all of that, and still the ball struck him and eventually dribbled past him and went over the ropes. Look at it. He had all the time in the world. Simple take. He turned his head just at the last moment, and then he lost sight of the ball. And what that meant was 4 runs. So 67 for 2 now after 8. So one by one, they're hoping to fill the basket here. Castro, no doubt, is trying his best to see if he can't really bludgeon a few big hits, some beefy blows, and maybe up the tempo. Down the wicket he comes, that one is spoon in the air, catch taken. Well, he was looking impatient, Castro. Now he goes for 14, and that's wicket number 3. So they've lost their 3rd wicket with 68 on the board now. This allows Christian Turton to come to the crease. Here's a young man again who has all the tools. Just needs to put his game together a little bit more consistently. So far, so good for Merryboys, despite being asked to field first. They're making the most of it right now. They're trying to keep things as tight as possible. And the brilliant sunshine here at the Oval. Nice breeze as well. Got the flags in the distance. Stretching out. And well, the bowler bowled the ball. The batsman hit it back to him. He fielded it beautifully. And then in one motion, he threw it back to the wicketkeeper, missed him. I mean, the wicketkeeper is small, yes, but there's no excuse for that. He just threw the ball back at the keeper, missed him by a mile, and gave away a run. So Turton is off the mark. And they're going to have to hurry again. But this is what I was referencing earlier. Look at where all the fielders are. Look at where he picked up that ball. He's less than a meter inside from the marker. Now he's standing there in that position. So when the bowler bowls, he really doesn't go anywhere. This one is in the air a bit, but well short of Kisundat. So again, once you're at the edge of that circle, it doesn't mean you're just there to stop the ball from passing you. You have a responsibility also to attack the ball and try to effect a run out where possible. That's good fielding now. And but again, it's the same fielder in that general position, and they all do it because look at where he was fielding that ball again. If you use that little, that marker as the line, he's less than a meter in front of that marker where he's doing the fielding. It's the end of the over. 9 completed now. It's 72 for 3. So, but I'd really like to see them attack the ball a little bit more. On that occasion, he didn't have a chance because it was so well struck. So he did well to stop it. But some of the others, they're just pushing. It's not like an aggressive shot. You could tell when you're a fielder that they're going to make an aggressive shot. Everything changes. But if it's not, then that's your cue to sneak up and try to shut down any attempt at a quick single. And not only do you want to shut down any attempt at a quick single, you want to effect a run out. So Ernst Bourge. So Bourge has to be careful here. The field placement has to be good as well to support him. Men on the boundary, long off, long on, deep mid wicket, square leg. And this one is going to be caught out in the deep as well. Yes, it is. Again, the ball just kind of hung up in the air there. And Kalitran really didn't get any kind of power on it. And he is going to make that very disappointing walk back to look at where he is. He got into position. Remember, his center of gravity is very small. So he had swinging room there. He just miscued it. And instead of clearing the fence, he just skied it. And part of that is, of course, this is the shorter side of the ground today. So he probably fancied his chances. But he goes for 11. And it's 72 for 4 as the players will get some refreshment. So we'll take a break and come back with more. Welcome back. The players have had their refreshments. And of course, Christian Kalitran makes his way a bit dejectedly. And it means now that Reefer has come to the crease, Raymond Reefer. And he is immediately off the mark. But again, the last couple of times that we've seen Reefer bat, he's played some really beautiful innings. And the last time he saw his team over the line with a gutsy performance that earned him the man of the match. So I think they're going to expect more of the same here. But he does have just over 10 overs to work with, so he can probably take an over or so to play himself in. Yeah, that's another good delivery. Although it started going leg stump, you could see how Turton was going almost outside the off stump to try to play that, exposing all three stumps. So I won't be surprised if Boish puts that in his memory bank and comes back to it later on, and maybe see if he could get one to sneak past that pad and disturb the wickets behind him. Refer again. He's gonna have to hurry here, but again the fielders just they're not picking up the ball cleanly, and those are opportunities that they might rule later on, because if you could effect a run out and you get a refer early, you open the door to so many possibilities after that. But once you let him settle, that's well played. Into the gap it goes. And again, the running is not, that's the big side of the ground. And they just, it's a no ball. Well, that's a cardinal sin in the limited overs game. In fact, in any game at all, for a spinner to be running up and overstepping, so we now have the mid wicket. Oh, well, it's extra cover out on the boundary for the left-handed reefer. And reefer is gone. This is gone. Oh, it went high, hasn't gone far, but it's just enough to clear the ropes straight over the bowler's head. It went high in the air. It just dropped on the cycle track there. And 6 runs to reefer. So I'm sure he too might have been hand in mouth kind of thing, because it went high in the air. There is a long off and a long on as well, so any kind of miscue that doesn't carry like that could very well fall to one of those two. But he got away with it. So best motors Marchin Patriots. 84 for 4 now to end the over. So 84 for 4 at the end of 10. So we're looking at reefer, just taking a guard down at that bottom end. Really looks in a totally different class. Reefer. And that's how you're supposed to dominate when you kind of step down from the international level. That's a great shot. The man at mid-off has no chance. He's at long off, and that one was drilled past the bowler. And the man at long off, really, he hardly moved, and the ball just sped across the turf. You look at it there, nice flight, but well played again by Turton. And again, this time, probably pitched up a little bit further. Couldn't get the leverage. And he's trying again, but he gets it just over the head of the extra cover fielder. And they're able to pick up another boundary. Sitram, Denny was right there, just trying to climb. He needed a little bit of Joel Garner in him there. Another chase. This time they're going to go for the second run. And get it quite comfortably as well. These two are trying to build something here. They're off to a pretty good start as the over comes to an N11 go, and it's 96 for 4. So it's so much going on. Of course, today we also have rugby, Trinidad, Jamaica. And that game is up at Larry Gomes, is it? At the Larry Gomes Stadium. The Trinidad and Tobago rugby men have done very well in regional competition in North America as well. But they're also very good at the sevens, the shorter version, the T20 version of rugby, if you want to call it that. Or some might say that sevens rugby T20 is the sevens rugby. $97 now for 4. But Trinidad, Jamaica, two of the big powerhouses in the region. The Bahamas also. Barbados to a lesser extent. Reefer. Already up to 10. 10 from 6. And again, he's playing this gorgeously. Into the gap it goes. There is a man on the cover boundary. It's fairly square, but he couldn't get around. And that's 4 good-looking runs there to Raymond Reefer. Struck with a lot of power. But what was even better was the placement. So good timing and great placement from Raymond Reefer. He jumps up to 14 now. Reefer again wants a quick single, but Bush read it well. He's gonna have to run it down. They might think of a second run. In fact, he was anticipating that they might have gone for a second run because the fielders are long on rather on the boundary, mid wicket on the boundary, big acreage out here on the onside of the wicket. So you're almost guaranteed at least a run if you could play it on the onside. And if you play it well, you might be able to squeeze a second. We saw a number of those last evening. That's a good shot. That's well played again. Big effort required out there to keep it in play. And the batsmen help themselves to 2 more. So that brings the over to an end. 104 for 2 now after 12. So 104 for 4 after 12 overs. Turton on 18, Raymond Reefer on 15. Reefer has really looked the part. There was a lot of conjecture when he was on the West Indies team if he was really a number 3 batsman. But he's showing that he's quite capable, even though he's not a natural number 3. There was a saying, your best batsman is your number 3 batsman. But it doesn't always or necessarily be the case. Sourav Worrell is into the attack. So Worrell will try to keep things quiet at this end. Again, they're trying their best to keep things as tight as possible. Maybe try to build some pressure and see if they could knock over one of these 2 early. But another comfortable single. So 1 by 1, they're just keeping the scoreboard ticking over without really setting the place ablaze just yet. Maybe when it gets to the happy hour. So 1 by 1, and those big gaps in the field persist, especially on the onside. And I guess he could be outcaught. No, just over the head of the man at short, fine leg there, just a bit square. And he almost got himself a catch and just fractionally away from him. And here's another one that's hit straight down the throat of the man out there, and he doesn't miss out on it on this occasion there. Bourge holds on, and that is the end of it there, because Turton again losing his patience. And so Worrell joins the wicket taking act now, and it's Nelson, 111 for 5. So, well, some people would say, of course, Nelson caught him. He didn't skip on one leg as he should have. But more importantly, is Best Motors have lost a 5th wicket. So 111 for 5. So the skippers arrived at the crease. So now with the and here's another short ball, and leg spinners somehow always find a way to produce bad balls that could turn into be good balls. Because there was Reefer playing and missing and almost got bowled down. He was at full stretch trying to hike this through the onside, misses, and somehow he survives. So again, the fielders are just all moving all over the place. Guys are just a little bit slow getting into position. So now they know because there's a right-hander on the crease again, Ali. So we'll see if they can really keep it tight throughout. We saw the U19s last night put on a command performance. Adrian Ali, they got a quick single, they're gonna have to hurry, and they do. So that's good cricket. They just pushed it and immediately set off. The wicketkeeper was quickly interaction, but not even he would have been quick enough. Rifa pushes on to 18 now. I think he's reading the game very sensibly. He's not going hell for leather too early. It's just allowing the game to sort of come to him. And again, another on this side, they might think of a second, but they decide against it, which is surprising because, again, look at the big open spaces in the field. But I suppose they worked out because it's a short side of the ground, they're not going to risk anything on that side. Maybe on the opposite side, they might have pushed for 2. More of the same. They go for 1, but Reefer switches off, and 1 it is. So another over comes to an end, and at the end of it's 116 now for the loss of those 6 wickets, not 5 wickets rather. Well played again by Reefer as he looks up at the scoreboard, I'm sure, and recognize that they only have 117 on the board. They don't want to lose another wicket. Always the case for them to try to consolidate and then kick on, trying to make sure that they play out the full 20 overs. And, now they're moving quickly, full of intent, coming back for a second run. Able to get it quite comfortably in the end. It's always important for them to try to keep rotating the strike as much as possible. And maybe Ali could leave it for the big hitting, but he too showing that he could open his shoulders every so often. And without too much fuss, he just lofted that one over long on for a deserved 6. Certainly a good way to put his team just ahead in the over. Let's see if there's a comeback. Quicker delivery. They could go for 2 here. They've gone for 1, and 2 it is quite easily. And those are the gaps that I really think the captains, and he's not the only one, there are a lot of captains in this competition who are just not prepared to sacrifice a player to plug that gap, because that's an easy 2 runs every time. So it's always a challenge when you have 2 experienced players and they're building a partnership. You can't break it. You're looking for a breakthrough, but none is forthcoming. So there it is. That's the wicket. They were created all the time looking for it. And that is the end of Reefer. And that is the big fish. Just a little bit of, I should say, it's a little bit unusual. He saw the opportunity and he probably hit it better than he thought he did. And a good catch taken at that square leg position. They're just slightly backward of square. So Reefer goes for 17. And actually, I think he used more than 17. 21. He goes for 21, and it's 126 it is, or 128 for the loss of 6. So again, they continue to take wickets here. That's the important thing. So Rivaldo Ramlogan is going to replace Rifa. Here's another talented young man who, as I say, has a lot of promise. And it looks like Jason Agard is going to join the attack. So 128 for 6 after 15 overs. So they have 30 balls left. How many can they tackle in here? And Merryboys will be thinking, how many wickets can we take in these next couple of overs without conceding too many runs? And more importantly, without conceding too many boundaries or in terms of fours and sixes. And this young man, Agard, is charged with that responsibility. And he's have to hurry here, Ali, but he can't pick it up cleanly. Well, every so often they get into these positions where they could nearly execute a run out. And although he had it in his sights, it's just not there for him. He can't seem to release it in time. And in fact, that was his choice not to release it. He probably felt the batsman was close enough to get in home. And every time he pushes it, it's almost always going to be called wide. Sirens in the background, but because we do have a medical facility not too far away, the Sinclair Medical, so they do have an emergency, accident and emergency section. And here's another thick edge. And good anticipation from out in the deep there from Chin. The return wasn't the best, but yeah, at least he did part of it right, which was to get to the ball and then release it quickly. Limiting the batsman to just the one run. And again, so they're going to go hard for the first one. Chin again is called into action. And again, he limits them to a single. This time it's his anticipation that works out well. He attacks the ball. This one goes high in the air and is sailing, sailing, sailing. Go on. Just dropping on the cycle track. Again, for a long time there, the man at mid-on looked interested as if he had a chance to catch it. And then at the last moment, you could see him looking up and his hands just dropping as if to say, I thought I was going to catch it, but then he never got a chance to catch it. So that's a good beefy blow there. And again, this one is in the air, but that 2 is going. And did he manage to keep it in? He was trying to throw it back, but I think it went over. Yes, he tried to throw it back over, and he probably didn't succeed in doing so. It was very close to the line, and he probably sensed that he was going to go over, and he held on. But despite his best efforts, still 6 runs in the book. And that's a good shot. And another bit of fielding required out in the deep. So the overs now coming thick and fast, and both teams have to be super concentrated in these dying stages. 145 on the board now, 145 for 6. So with 16 overs gone, just 4 overs now for Ali and company to navigate. The good thing is the captain Ali is out there. He has been very steady with the bat. Yeah, again, they're thinking about it, and they get through with another one. So Rivaldo Ramlogan trying to get in on the action. He too holds out to long off. And Ramlogan wasn't going to drop that one. Or rather, Kisundat wasn't going to drop that one. So 145 for 7 it is. Merryboys are doing a pretty good job here. Just every time the Patriots seem to think that they have control of the game, boop, back comes Merryboys with a counter punch of their own. So they've done very well so far, and they just need to tighten up in a few areas, especially in the field when you're bubbling boundaries and repeatedly. It obviously raises concern, and that's where you could either win or lose a game sometimes with just the additional 3-4 runs. Then what? Somebody won by 9 wickets recently, or 9 runs in a chase. Came up just short, and you look back now. When you lose a game like that, you question yourself. You play over the whole game trying to see where you could have made up those runs. So Ricky Jaipur is quickly off the mark. But I don't think he's going to want to stay quiet. Sooner or later, Jaipur is probably going to try to clear the fences. Here's another one again. They're appealing, but the umpire is not interested. Worrell and co thinking that they had broken through again. And that's what they need to do. Just keep the pressure on. Did it touch the forearm? Here's another really unnecessary from Adrian Ali there. He just seemed lazy in trying to play that one and survives. 148 for 7 now after 17. So 148 for 7. And like Prisons last night when I spoke to the captain after Diaz, he was thinking that they were like 30, 40 runs short. I think that is part of the course here as well. You think after they won the toss and, upped it to bat at 148 this late in the game, but you never know. We also saw some big hitting in the last 2 or 3 overs. All the time, the search for runs is on here. Batsmen recognize now they have license to swing. That's another brilliant delivery. Um, Batsman looking, hoping that the umpire could probably bail him out. So Agard. And this should be too comfortably. Yeah, that's good running because that's what you have to do just to keep the pressure on the fielding team. Not everybody wants to push on and take it, but Agard is doing a decent job. Can a bubble in the field, and what was a great opportunity there for them to maybe effect a run out. Doesn't materialize because of that bubble. And how many of those have we seen already today? The 150 is on the board, 150 for 7. Again, no, it's a much better blow, but Still just a 1 run. It's just the urgency or lack thereof that they're not able to really kick on. Like I said, sometimes you have to force the fielders' interaction. And if they see you running, they might take their eyes off the ball, and one could become two, possibly even three, if not a boundary. That's a good hit, and just over the head. You could see him. He was falling backwards. Never really looked like he was going to hold that one in. And Rambaran just never got up high enough there. But 4 runs all the same. They're going to take it and move on with that. 155 now for 7 at the end of 18. So the innings quickly coming to an end, but then I say quickly because of the number of overs. But in terms of maybe it's because of the hot sun, they're just kind of meandering into position. It's very hot outside. More runs on offer, but again, another single. So what they need to do is cut out the boundary balls and just limit them to maybe 1 run. Good stumping, good glove work. In one motion, had the bail off in a flash. The batsman assumed he grounded though. And there's the wicketkeeper with an old baseball trick. You catch the ball and you kind of bring the glove in to confuse the umpire and make him feel that you took it closer to the stump than you really did. It was signaled a wide. But you see it all the time in baseball. When the catcher puts the mitt there and it hits the glove, you could see most times they move the glove in as if they're trying to fool the umpire and say, well, it was over the strike zone. We saw that there just now from Shwetan. There's a play that's in the air, but it's firmly struck. And that would break the shackles here just a little bit. They will love that. So doesn't matter who gets them once they come. Again, they have to fight and try to limit these. So there's another big hit. There's a man waiting. Manek takes it brilliantly in the end. So it's just right on the fence there. Manek accepts the catch, and Adrian Ali has to go. So another batsman makes his way out into the middle. Wickets are beginning to fall quickly or fairly quickly. So now they're going to have to try and bring this home here. Could be a long chase. They should go for a second, and they decide against it. Now, this is good fielding, and he almost decapitated the wicketkeeper. A bad hop. But again, good cricket, good old cricket, and keeping it very tight. So this is the final over, and it's going to be Agard who is going to do the honors. Can they get it up to maybe in the 180s, maybe even 190?
Yep. Yellow.
So again, just the singles that they're limited into. So this is not a bad effort at all from Merryboys if they can just see it out here without leaking too many runs. And there should be another catch here. He's closing in on it, and they left it for each other. Well, well, well. Both of them started to attack it. It looks as if Chin had it, and then it was left in the end for Ramdeni. Neither one took the initiative. Both of them left it for each other, and neither got there. In the end, they got a single. That's a big swing and a miss there. So not a bad over, Ramjit Singh. That's a good hit. That's hit straight, and that's going to bounce once, twice, and into the boundary it goes there. So a good hit, and welcome runs. So 170 now for the loss of 8 wickets. That's a good delivery. Again, just changing up things there. Slipping the bumper, the short ball. And a big fan at it there by Ricky Jaipal, but to no avail. So 170 for 8. And he probably rubbed him a second run there. They're going to take the second run, and he is run out. Well, he was trying to sneak in there, and again, almost carelessly done here. Underarmed the ball all along the ground. Agard, though, almost threw it back to the wicketkeeper's end, and then he realized that he had a chance at a run out, and he was able to execute that. So they did get So 171 for 9. That's the final score here. And what that means is that they will need 172 for a victory, Merryboys. And they would probably feel happy about that in the end. But I would imagine Marchin Patriots, the strength of their bowling, they may feel that they could successfully defend this total. And that sets up an intriguing contest the rest of the way. So as the ground staff does the repair work to the ground, we'll take a break and come back when the Merryboys innings is about to begin. Remember, they need 172 for a victory after Marchin Patriots, who won the toss and batted, closed at 171 for 9.
So we welcome you back here to the Queen's Park Oval. 172, the target for Merryboys Sports Club. They took wickets at consistent intervals in that first innings, but it's still quite a healthy total on the board. So it will certainly be an interesting run chase here. Chandrapal Hemraj to open the bowling for Marchin Patriots. Luke Ali and Ansh Boj out there opening for Merryboys. Luke Ali just facing that first delivery. Hemraj just looking to spear it into the surface at this time. It's a lovely shot down the ground, but good fielding there at long on. Innings is underway now. 2 runs coming from that delivery.
Yeah, this is going to take some getting from Merryboys. Probably going to need a good start just to set the tone for the innings.
Driven beautifully there by Luke Ali. He's able to pierce that gap in the point region. And he has got his first boundary. He was full on that occasion. All he had to do was make contact, pick that gap, and reward is 4 runs for him.
Yeah, it was well played and well placed too. Just almost squared the wicket. And nobody could catch up to it. And again,
1-2 bounces into the Trinary sign. Went lofted on that occasion, but not lofted too powerfully. Came off of the lower half of the bat. All he had to do was clear that mid-off fielder and he was in business.
yeah, he's been batting well. In fact, both of these young men have really looked very positive indeed. And Merryboys as a team have been improving.
He'll give the strike to Ansh Boj for final delivery of this over. There's an interesting ploy to start off with Hemraj. Has worked in the past many times for the Guyana Amazon Warriors. Of course, a lot of spin in this Marchin Patriots lineup.
Not sure what the conversation is there, but a lot of discussion there with Jaipal.
Might be giving him a few tips. Make contact bat to ball, but still not yet off the mark. But 11 without loss after first over.
Again, good run accumulation here. This is a positive start. Ironically, the Patriots also started with 11 runs without loss in their first over. But it really is going to be interesting to see, especially if Boj can get going again. We've seen how capable he has been. And I suppose as he grows in confidence, he may be thinking now of really planting a big score. But initially, he's probably going to need a start so that he can really start to build. But this is the man that I would imagine the Marchin Patriots will be relying on yet again, especially with the ball now, Raymond Reefer.
Most definitely that ball still quite new. Looking to see what he could get out of the surface. Of course, quite a windy day given what we've seen on the forecast. Can he make good use of it?
For every day this week, for the rest of this week, high winds.
Brilliant start. This surface being used towards the eastern side of the ground, so shorter boundary on his offside. Just one fielder in the deep at a backward point. So Reefer's gonna have to be careful as to not get it too wide. Scampers through for a quick single there.
And that's good running. Although his partner was a little bit late in responding, but eventually Boers took off, and they eventually got the single quite comfortably. And that's because it's not new. You're seeing it all the time. The fielders on the bounce, on the edge of that 30 meter mark, they all seem to, it's almost like there's an artificial wall somewhere. There's like they're afraid to come in from there. And as a result, they allow smart batsmen to pinch singles inside of that circle, which really shouldn't be happening as frequently as we're seeing it. At least certainly not without a run out or two.
Of course, I feel that extra cover for that delivery was just a bit further back than the cover fielder. Usually they tend to prefer to have that extra cover fielder a bit closer in to try to cut off that angle. So on that occasion, it's been a bit less attacking in the field.
I suppose the wisdom is one would attack and the other one would kind of cover. So they have to work out which of the two is going to attack the ball. So from the time the batsman shapes the play, you're almost rushing into him. And but when the batsman plays it like that, you don't have any option but to concede a single. That's very well played.
Drop and run and off the mark now for Ansh Boj. One of the two, of course, US imports into this team. Shorter that time, but didn't rise too much on Ali. Played it quite well in the end.
Again, that's the experience of Reefer come into play here. He's a seasoned campaigner. He's played at the highest level, so he knows what he's doing. And as we've seen all along, he just brings that little extra to the table.
Over the offside. 1-2 bounces into the boundary. So Luke Ali looking in fine form here. 17 without loss after 2. It's a bit more width on offer on that occasion from Raymond Reefer. It was just an easy freeing of the arms.
It was very well played. He got the width, and he also had the perfect field placing for him. There was nobody out. So he wasn't taking much of a risk once he got it over the inner ring. The comfortable boundary for him. Reefer probably would have been upset with himself for just giving him that width. He does like to bowl those, what we call those full Yorkers outside the off stump quite often. But on this occasion, he was just trying to see if he could carry it across the right-hander. But Ali was his levers are long, so he was able to pick up with it and cash in.
Yeah, we first so far in the tournament, 3 wickets from his 2 matches. We now see Tishon Castro entering the attack. Much taller figure of Castro. He also has 3 wickets so far. It was over the wicket to Boj, and what a shot that was, just over that fielder. We'll have to have another look at that to just see how close he was to grasping that out of the air.
Turton, that's Christian Turton there at point. It actually went through his hands. It looked like he just didn't get them up in time.
It's one of those that you would say burst through the hands. Every time I hear that, I feel the pain bursting through my hands as well. Leg side this time, pulled into vacant area. These 2 batters are now going full throttle at this bowling attack.
You just see the potential with these 2, and the longer they stay there, is the more they will grow in confidence, and the better it will be for Merryboys, because as you've seen in some of the earlier games, they can set the tone for the innings. Even if they don't see it through to the end, they could certainly lay a foundation, a good foundation.
The back foot this time, and a bit of timing and placement through the 3rd man region. More finesse on that boundary, showing that he can access all angles of the ground now.
Again, it was a little bit too close for him to cut it, so he just opened the face and picked up another boundary. So they're off to a pretty terrific start here. 29 without loss now.
Of course, as you see, rightfully so, they will have to see this through later on. Top order has always been very effective for them in this tournament. And of course, in the power play at this stage, no fielding restrictions. Well, just fielding restrictions here. That right there. Some good batsmanship on show again when can't find the boundary. Just rotate the strike.
And that's part of one of the pluses that we're seeing in this tournament, is that a lot of these young batters are beginning to understand the value of rotating strike. Here they do it again quickly.
Of course, if we think back to the first innings as well, Marchin Patriots were off to quite a quick start as well. The end of 3 overs. Can you remind me what their score was? Oh, that's going very high, but not far enough. And that's gonna be caught there at mid-on. As we see, a blazing start, but that early wicket falling. Ricky Jaipal, one of the taller fielders out there, taking a very simple catch.
Yes, Bush goes for 14. Castro getting the breakthrough. 31 for 1. At the end of their 3 overs, they were 42 without loss.
So just slightly behind at this stage. At 42 without loss after 3 overs was certainly a very quick start. So many wickets fell throughout the middle period, but they always had that base to build upon that it allowed them to keep attacking and going for it. So Andrew Rambaran out in the middle. Captain in the first 2 matches, not captaining today though.
Yeah, he's going to want to put something substantial on the board.
He's been in fine form with the ball so far throughout the tournament, but hasn't had a batting innings of substance yet.
Kastri Singh.
And 4 more to Luke Ali. It's a no ball to start as well.
Yeah, you're asking for trouble when you do that as a spinner.
I'm sure keeper and captain Adrian Ali would not be too pleased with that. Right behind the stumps would be letting him know that. Outside edge, no one there. And away to the boundary for 4 more. He was always going to swing hard at that free hit. Didn't get full reward, but still got a very good reward in the end.
Yeah, that's all that really matters when you're going for a free hit. Invariably, guys are going to swing hard. And we keep saying all along, the quality of the bat these days, an edge is almost like a full-blooded drive.
Bang on target that time from Kastri Singh. Bit of aggression, looking to ensure the batter remains in his crease. Fielders in the deep at long on and deep mid wicket.
Yeah, once he puts pace on the ball, Ali is going to try to free his arms as much as he possibly can, using that pace to good effect.
Looking to make use of that long on fielder this time. They come through for an easy single. Rambaran about to face his first delivery. Keeping that left and right hand batting combo in effect.
Which is always good to have because it forces the bowlers to concentrate a lot more. That was a nice juicy half volley there that he just seemed to pat back to the bowler.
Wouldn't want to get out first ball. Just looking to be a bit cautious here. But he'll remain off, not yet off the mark. 41 for 1 after 4.
Well, I suppose both teams can claim victory in that over. because the first half belonged to the batting side, and the second half Singh tightened up significantly, especially once Rambaran got on strike. But he will look at it and think that this is Rambaran, that now that he's kind of gotten a feel, he can start to expand his game a little bit, because there are two deliveries there that under normal circumstances he would have been attacking. But since he's just arrived, he's just hoping to probably play himself in and maybe set himself for later on. To see what Jaipal is coming into the attack.
Ricky Jaipal in the power play here still. As you say, you never really want to rush too much in a run chase. You know that target you have in mind.
Kind of caught in two minds there. He was looking to go across it initially, and then he made a late adjustment.
There's no real question about that one. Looked to be heading down leg. And that's
More
4 runs.
Mm-hmm. Again, they know what they're doing. These two, in fact, if we could put Bourge inside of that, they have a pretty good understanding of what is required. They do have the shots. They can play the shots. Sometimes it's just shot selection, based on the bowlers that they're facing. And once they work that out, you could see from Luke Ali, he is very, very capable. And if he sticks around long enough, the runs will come.
Better that time from Jaipal. That previous boundary, he was well too much on the leg stump. That sweep shot was too easy for Luke Ali.
Again, another well-judged single, showing that they understand if you're not going to attack him, then you can still milk him.
Opting to stay around the wicket here for Rambaran. Steps down and brilliant fielding of his own bowling.
Yeah, Rambaran has to be careful here. He's trying to get to the pitch of the ball, but Jaipal is a very wily character.
So Rambaran gets off the mark in style. That one was a bit shorter, so he played that cross-batted shot and picked a wonderful area to deploy it in.
50 on the board, 50 for 1.
So, of course, that side being the bigger side, but it's going to be well assisted by the breeze.
As we were saying earlier, 50 for 1 after 5, that's exactly what the score was in the first innings. And we see in this strategy again where bowlers are just being given 1 over, and he keeps rotating it so that the batsmen don't get too accustomed to any one bowler in the power play.
Very good short ball in the end there from Reefer. Just waited to ensure that the umpire didn't signal it to be wide. Of course, our previous short ball he bowled was just a bit too low to Luke Ali in his first over, so went a bit shorter this time. Waited for that one nicely and timed it to the fielder in the deep. Of course, that tactic of rotating the bowlers quite consistently, I think is quite a good tactic in T20 cricket, but the only time you want to try to deviate away from that is when you have a good first over, you take a wicket or you're in rhythm. Usually, I think it would be advised to give that second over. So as we saw Castro take that wicket earlier.
He got away with that on two fronts. He got away with that because it did hit the bat and it just squirted to the short third man, but it could so easily have been left alone and it probably would have been called a wide.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one, especially watching at home. You would think, why not just leave it to go wide? But when you're looking at it from that first person angle in the middle, it's very instinctive. Again, drop and run, very nicely done.
Yeah, this is becoming it's becoming more and more common now, where the batsmen are recognizing those singles. I shouldn't even say quick singles because they didn't really have to hustle. It was so well played that they were able to comfortably take the single. And again, the ball doesn't even get off the square. Good change of pace again from Reefer, but Ali was watchful and was able to just ride it out.
Of course, we're seeing all these quick singles being taken here in T20 cricket, but we don't see these being taken as much in the Test match squad.
And that is a strange scenario. You look at the heavy cloud now, just darker cloud, just building up around the ground. No immediate threat of rain.
Straight to that fielder at mid wicket.
Yeah, that's Turton there just hanging out.
It's really been quite some interesting weather we've had throughout as well. 53 for 1. It's not the first dark cloud I've seen for the day, but so far each of them has tended to just move to the south before it's past us. Of course, that didn't occur yesterday.
You had two, I don't want to say lengthy interruptions, but all in all, we lost just over an hour.
So second over here for Jaipal. In the end, decides to take that single as it was passing close to that close-in fielder. He just second-guessed it for a moment or two.
And that's what you don't want. If you're going to commit to the run, once you get the call, you take off and you go and you trust your teammate, your partner. Because even if he had fielded that ball, he would have had to transfer it from his left hand to his right hand, which would have given you more than enough time.
Seeing two singles in a row now. Of course, the power play has been completed, so fielding restrictions relaxed.
It was 53 for 1 as opposed to 52 for 2 when Patriots batted. See, that is kind of like what I was referencing earlier. Look at how much closer he is there as opposed to everybody. So one person is attacking it. And that way you force the batsman to reconsider those quick singles, especially on the offside.
And that's always a way that, of course, one of the current captains that do it so often changes field, Ben Stokes. You could always change which one of those fielders is attacking and defending just to make the batsman have to reconsider every so often.
Yeah, just that subtle change has really prevented them from stealing those quick singles. But now he's pushed him back a little bit. So I don't know if he's going to flight this one.
Well, Ali's asking him a question there, Adrian Ali. I think it was a good enough delivery and a good enough over in the end. Just two coming from it, 55 for 1.
It was a good over and good variation as well. But he was assisted by just having the player in the circle there. It looks like Calitran attacking the ball in that extra cover position. It just changed the whole outlook for the batsmen because now they have it in the back of their mind that he is so close that he could effect a run out if they're not careful. And as a result of that, they didn't get a single for the last 4 deliveries of that over.
And Jack Paul bowled more of a fourth, fifth stump line in that over as opposed to the previous over where he was a bit quicker and also more on the stumps. So Kastri Singh continues. It's been a good recovery from him since starting off with that no ball. Again, we see Raymond Reefer in the extra cover position, walking very close in. So he goes leg side. Andrew Rambaran. Fielders in the leg side all seem to be in the deep.
Yeah, there's the big open spaces on the onside because all of them are boundary riders. When the left-hander is facing on that side, it's also the short boundary. So they give up that single inside of there, but they want to protect the boundaries as much as possible.
I heard a bit of chatter before the match. They were saying that boundary looks very short.
Yeah, because of where which strip they're using. But it's the same thing when they play on the on the far side. The boundary to the right, to the western end, becomes the short boundary.
That's why the chatter stood out to me, is really because, well, it's the same on the other side as well.
And how many mishits we saw sail out the ground on that side.
So again, just looking to use those open gaps on the leg side. Bit of a consolidation period at this stage. Current rate dropped below the required rate now, so they'll just have to keep that in mind, given what we've seen in their previous batting innings. He certainly keeps that in mind as he hits that one beautifully, steps down and hits that straight onto the advertising board.
Yeah, that's a good shot. He didn't try to overhit it. He went for more timing than anything else. He was always going to play it in the air, and he just lifted it. And although the fielder Calitran was there, I don't think he really had a chance of catching it. It fell behind him, but it fell far enough behind him that he really didn't have a chance of catching it. it might give you the impression that he had a chance, but I don't think he really had a chance. Good, smart, intelligent cricket. You just had a 6. So don't tempt fate, if you know what I mean. Just take what the bowler gives you.
64 for 1 at this stage. 2 overs until the mandatory drinks break. And that shot, and just replaying it in my mind, that full face of the bat always looks so delectable.
Yeah, because it was pure timing, you know. You look at it again, a quick use of the feet, and then deliberately lifting it up and over, as they say.
So a few discussions. I saw initially Jaipal was about to take up the attack, but seems like we have a late change here as
Yeah,
Hemraj returns.
yeah, they were discussing it as to who should bowl.
How does he adjust his attack, his plan of attack here in the middle phase? Just a fine leg in the ring on the leg side, everyone else deep. Offside field in and out. Finds the gap towards a deep cover fielder for 1. Driving hard at that one. And again, he'll find the cover fielder. But come back for a second, Luke Ali.
And that's good running because of the distance, even though that is now the big side of the ground. So he had to, 2 things. He had to run a little to his right to corral the ball, and then he had to release it. And by that time, the batsman had already sort of dipped for the first run, so the second was easy.
Again, turns over the strike. Not letting the dot balls build up. Of course, at this stage, Marchin Patriots would certainly be wanting another wicket to come by soon. Almost a Yorker length delivery. Played it well in the end. But still 1 run as Hemraj dived to try to stop it.
Merryboys just ticking over here. I suppose after 10 overs, they'll kind of do the assessment and then try to just up the ante a little bit. So 70 for 1 after 9 overs. And just to do the comparison for you, there was 72 for 3 after 9 overs. So the game's still pretty much evenly balanced. It's really how they play that second half of the innings is what is probably going to tell in terms of who wins and who loses. Also, who has overs to bowl. and Reefer, I think, still has 2. And those 2 could be crucial.
So now we see Danny Ramjit Singh into the attack. Second off spinner in this lineup. He's had a tendency to take wickets early on in his spell. A bit too short to start off. Thought about a second for just a second, but didn't bother with it.
I'm surprised he didn't pull that square where there's that big gap out there. He just kind of pushed it, and so allowing the man to come in from there. But had he hit that closer to, say, the umpire, probably might have gotten a boundary. And again, that shouldn't be happening. Castro just sort of conceded that it was a run. He just never attacked the ball. And that is what we were talking about. If you're going to put players there, they must have the ability to really.
Yeah, square regions, always such high traffic areas. So again, it's just one in that similar region down there where Rivaldo Ramlogan is patrolling. Haven't seen him bowl as yet.
And that's the key. He may get maybe 2 overs in the second half. And again, that cannot be because they're going to just push and run. But he never changes his whole approach. Is like, okay, it's a single, and he's just happy with that. But you look at the players close by, like Reefer and some of the others, they are like, what is happening here? They need to probably just change the personnel, get somebody who could really attack the ball from there.
Outside edge. Second time in this match we've seen Luke Ali get a boundary in that area.
Again, the ball, I'm not sure if that is where he intended it to go, but it ended up there off a thick outside edge. And but he kept it down. That's the important thing. And the runs keep coming.
I couldn't tell if he was trying to drive it or play it hard into the leg side. But as you see there, just 4 singles boundary. And they're pretty much in line with the run rate. Down in the deep, looking for a second, and they will get it this time. So they're again ahead of the run rate for this over. So well on target at the drinks break stage after 10 overs, 80 for 1.
Yeah, 80 for 1 after 10. And a short comparison, they were 84 for 4 at the break. So we take a break, we come back after this.
Halfway through this run chase for Merryboys. Going well so far, 80 for 1, requiring 92 more. So again, we saw Jaipal was about to bowl and Himraj coming back to bowl from that Brian Lara Pavilion end.
He hasn't bowled too badly, but we'll see how they attack him in this half. That's good fielding, though. Good attacking fielding.
Can understand the use of spin at this stage because spin has been a major factor throughout the tournament. And looking at the surface earlier, there are a few cracks, but very small cracks.
A 50-run partnership between these two.
The singles coming by way too easy for Merryboys. It would be a concern for Marchin Patriots.
They needed something. What they needed? They need 89 now from 57 deliveries. So the more they chip away, and if they get one or two big overs along the way, it could change the equation very quickly. But I say those 2 overs that Reefer still has to bowl could be the difference, because he's the one who could really squeeze them.
It's been a real all-round package throughout the season. Raymond Reefer with bat and ball. All he could do on that occasion was hit it straight back at him, Raj.
So 86 for 1 after 11 overs. At some point, one of these two probably is gonna have to just make a determined effort to try to push the scoring along. Ali is up to what, 49 now, so he's 1 away from a half century.
So straight on that occasion from Andrew Rambaran, bisecting those 2 fielders on the boundary. Haven't seen such a straight shot in quite some time.
But that's well struck. Again, he's picking it up and using the areas that what we call gaps in the field.
Had to duck for cover on that occasion with the umpire.
Yeah, they are endangered species out there.
It's going all the way this time for 6. For a split second, I thought he had a chance on the boundary there.
Again, Turton just not tall enough, and I thought he probably got his fingers to it, but he couldn't. He just couldn't hold it in. And he wasn't that far from the rope, so he gave himself enough distance there to go up and come down, but his body probably just wasn't settled.
They've batted so well, this partnership. They get 1 or 2 boundaries in a row. They're not looking to push too much further than that. Turning over strike, and as you see, they're looking to try to attack the game. Andrew Rambaran has definitely brought that chase under control in this over. Lukali on 49 here.
Again, he just kind of overcommitted himself there, premeditating. So he probably just play it on merit and take the run. So that's his 50, deserved 50 as well.
He's been in fine touch since ball 1, striking many boundaries throughout his innings and nicely slowing his pace down throughout that middle phase. I think at this stage it looks like he's probably going to be more of the anchor role, while Andrew Rambaran attacks a bit more. Again, they sneak a single in that region.
Yeah, it's good cricket on the part of the batting team. On the part of the fielding team, I don't know how the captain can allow that to persist, because they continue to rotate the strike, and it's like they just it just doesn't freeze them in the lead. So 12 overs, 98 for 1 now. And again, both teams stay close. They were 104 for 3 at that stage. Actually, they were 104 for 4 at that stage.
The real interesting thing here is that the only wicket taker, Tishwan Castro, has just bowled 1 over.
Yeah, so they're probably going to rely on him. Later on, and they're going to get a second run here because, again, just carelessness with that return. He just picked it up, underarmed it, but he missed Narayan by a country mile, as they say. Adrian Ali. He never had a chance to catch that.
I'm not sure who he was aiming at on that occasion.
Adrian probably say that was not my. That wasn't for me, because it was so high over his head. Problems. He dropped it. He almost trapped it, and but it took a long while for him to either recognize that the ball was dying on him, and by the time he reacted, it was just too far down.
You say problems, I think the fielder heard you when you said problems there, because that's certainly a problem. Raymond Reefer, it looks like, out there.
Here they go again. They should get 2 if they hurry. And that's good cricket. Again, pressuring the fielder. But once again, the captain is still hesitant to put a man on the onside in that gap there. He's still leaving it wide open.
In that previous delivery where they ran to use the feet quite wonderfully to just step down, make the length that which he wanted from the bowler. It wasn't for an attacking shot, it was just to run two. Again, using his feet. Partnership up to 72.
And this is a good partnership. This really kind of sets them up nicely the rest of the way. Even if one or both of them get dismissed, the others can't say they don't have a good foundation, and this just adds to that. So they're building here, trying to change the tempo a little bit. And they're going up to now 107 for 1.
He struck that one right back at the scorer's boot over there, just making sure to remind them, add 4 runs to the total here. 107 for 1, Merryboys.
And when we do that comparison, they were 111 for 5 at that same stage of their innings. So at some point, he's going to have to bring back Reefer. And I'm sure this is what he's thinking of, because Reefer is his ace in the hole, so to speak. So he's going to have to time it as to when he wants Reefer to come back. At least not just yet. So he's kind of holding him back a little bit.
So Castry Singh coming back into the attack. The interesting thing as well is, from what I could remember, both these spinners operated from the opposite ends in their previous match. It seems in this match they're looking to try to force the batters to attack that shorter side. But of course, sometimes it's just about a feel thing when you bowl from a certain end. And he does attack the shorter side and does get the wicket. Castry Singh back into the attack, and a vital breakthrough, much needed for Marchin Patriots. Andrew Rambaran was certainly going for it, being the more attacking partner, and that occasion he fell to a plan here from Castry Singh was shorter. His eyes lit up, but that fielder was right there.
That's Kamil Puran. Took a good running catch too. So they've now lost their second wicket at 107.
We'll see Kyle Kisundat striding out to the middle. Hasn't scored a heap of runs in this tournament as yet, but we do know how much class he possesses as a batter. Of course, what he hasn't made in runs, he's certainly made up for in the field.
Yeah, he has been brilliant in the field. Taking good catches or executing good fielding, good stops in the field. But right now, it's all about his batting. That's what they're going to want to see from him here now. Have them push things along. $107 for 2. That's well played. That's brilliant for 4. A straight drive from the top draw. Really, no fuss at all. Just execution there. Well played, straight as an arrow. And he's gifted it away just as he was trying to force the issue. He perishes. He goes for 4, caught and bowled by Takashri Singh. So it's now 111 for 3.
I think he summed up the game of cricket very well in 2 balls. There. Really not a good looking shot at all there from Kisunat. The first one was so delectable. Kasri Singh again with a shorter delivery. His 2 wickets so far have come from deliveries that have been just on the back of a good length.
He got himself into it, got big on him, and he really tried to muscle it, and really never made the kind of contact that was required.
Of course, to be fair to Kasri Singh, he must have tried that to surprise him, given how competent he looked on the front foot in that previous boundary. So 2 wickets back to back here. Luke Ali is still out there though. He's going to have to try to shepherd this chase.
But this is where their inexperience can be exposed. The Merryboys team, they're a young team. But as I say, you need to grow up real fast when you have opportunities like these here to probably knock off one of the tournament favorites and take control. That's good batting. Reefer took a lot of the sting out of it, else he might have probably gotten a second run. But again, even in the field, you're seeing Reefer making a contribution.
Even if he didn't get to it on that occasion, it might have even gone for 4.
That one is well struck. Kalicharan doing very well in the field there to cut it off from going for the boundary.
Yeah, and that there is a bit of a difficult area, a bit more sandy in that area to keep your footing. Just short of Jaipal. Does a 360 there. Didn't see where the ball had landed.
But first, he didn't attack it as how, because you can look at his captain. His captain is annoyed at him because the ball is dropping less than a meter in front of him. And he just kind of took it on the body as opposed to really going down and trying to get it. But at the end of it all, 2 runs result in it. That takes it to 116 for 3. And surprise, surprise, after 14 overs, they were 116 for 5. So this game continues to kind of track almost the same way, one innings to the other.
Yeah, of course, in that Merryboys dressing room, you wouldn't want to take those wickets too much into consideration. Well, the wickets from the first innings, that is, because they just kept on going for it, even with wickets falling.
Which is the same thing that they have to do. It doesn't matter if you lose 9 wickets once you get over the line. As we say in football, you lose by 1 or you lose by 5, you still lose. So you might as well go for it and try and win it yourself. So I would think this is how they have to be approaching this here now and to be thinking. Whatever discussions they have, Luke Ali probably has to try and stay the course, because the longer he stays there, the more likely they'll get these runs. And they're going to ask him to do most of the heavy lifting the rest of the way.
So Castro back into the attack now. Well, there's a lot of late changes happening in this innings.
Well, it's almost like Adrian Ali says, okay, since you didn't want to take the catch, come on, bowl now. I don't know if that's punishment or a chance to redeem yourself.
But that time as well, he waited for the stadium announcer to announce Castro back into the attack and change it.
That's close. And that is out. Yep, he went right across it there and didn't make any contact at all. He's already batting on a middle stump, literally. And then he goes right across there. That would have probably hit middle and leg, or as we say in local parlance, it would have missed the off, probably missed leg, but it certainly would have hit middle. And he has to go.
That ended up being a stroke of brilliance from Captain Adrian Ali to bring Jaipal back.
So Merryboys lose their fourth wicket now at 116. And unlike the Patriots, Merryboys don't really have, a string of experienced hitters to come. So they have like a lot of sort of bits and pieces. Players, talented players, yes, but do they have what it takes? Chin has shown that he can really hustle. And I'm surprised he's batting this low down. Normally he would bat a little higher up, but it's better late than never, as they say. And this might be a good time for him to play a nice little innings here, maybe form a partnership with Ali. That's true. Once it goes down the hill, that's difficult to cut that off. So that's 4 runs. That's 4 crucial runs at this stage. There are 2 fielders there, but he got the gap all the same.
With and length was on offer there for Luke Ali, and he's been there for so long. He's not going to let that one pass him by.
Not this time. Can't get it through. And the shot was a different shot. He was just standing up and trying to play it, almost opening the face. The last one, he was cutting it, and the spin took it away from the fielder as well. So wide, so they'll take that gladly. Although they probably would have preferred if he had made contact and gotten a boundary down behind square. There is a fine leg. So what he needed to do was kind of get it in the... There's also a deep square leg as well. And one in the dark there.
It was dangerous there. Almost chopped that one back on. Luckily for him, in the end, not so.
Jaipal has been very consistent. I was surprised he bowled down the leg side. He's really avoided that. And just as I say, so there he goes again, angling into that leg stump. He's lucky he didn't get a touch onto that. That could easily have been at least one run and possibly even more. The end of the over, 123 for 4. The end of 15. And of course, while we're battling the cricket here, the Trinidad and Tobago cyclists have made us proud with 6 medals as they participated in the Copa Chile with 6 medals. So congratulations to them. To Neil Campbell taking up a pair of medals, including a gold and silver. Of course, Jacine Phillips also had a gold in the men's Karen. Makaira Wallace also led the way in the women's Karen event. So coming back into the attack now is Chandapal Hemraj. So can they get these runs here now? Again, trying to really hoik it through the onside, really not making contact. Just try to play it in front of him once he can. Down the wicket he goes, and do he make contact this time? And just that bubble alone allows them to come back for the second run. Once again, tidying up quite nicely there is Rifa. So he's here, there, and everywhere. So 47 from 28. I'll make that 46 from 27 now. A quicker delivery there, almost caught Chin in no man's land. He was on the back foot, and that delivery was so well pitched up. This time he's again trying to force it, really not going into the shot, but trying to pull away and play it. And as a result, he's failing to make proper contact or any contact at all. This time he's going with the reverse and really got himself into a real tangle there and misses out. So 16 completed. It's 126 now for 4.
I must say as well, just stepping outside for a few. It's much more animated out there from the Marchin Patriots fielders. Bit of life back into them now.
They must be feeling better because, like I said, here comes their main man, and this is where he could be so invaluable to them. Raymond Reefer. Because that experience that he has, it really makes the world a difference.
It seems there's a bit of treatment there for Gerard Chin. Hopefully all's well with him now. So Reefer returning.
So 46 from 24. That's the equation here. Just a little under 2 runs per ball.
It's definitely a gettable sort of target in modern day cricket, but Luke Ali's gonna have to do a bit more than he might have expected just a few overs prior.
I'm surprised they have they have a fine leg, and then they have a short, just backward square, just at the right of the umpire there. And to me, if Reefer is going to be bowling that angle going away, then he might be better suited in this short, wide third man position. If you're going to bowl him, that's a great shot. Does he get enough though? Yes, he does. And the fielder was backing back, hoping to get in to some kind of position to take the catch. And then he just stumbled on the ropes and hasn't moved since. And that looks like, is that Himraj Chandapal?
That looks like Castro over there.
He just sort of fell down. He's going backwards.
Everyone's heading across there now.
Yeah, he hasn't moved since he fell down. That is, now he's moving. So I was very alarmed that he didn't move when he fell. The rope, now those are thick ropes, so it could trip you up if you're not sure where they are. Look at, he stepped on it. Is Castro, and then he fell. He's a big fella, and that was a heavy fall. But all the same, 6 runs, 6 invaluable runs at this stage, and to get it off Reefer is even more gratifying for them. 132 now for 4.
It was a quite wide delivery. He did very well to get enough contact on it. He played that shot. It didn't look as if he timed it well enough, but of course, towards that side of the ground, the wind may have just helped it over the rope.
Yeah, so they're still concerned about Castro out there. It looks like he might be able to continue.
There's a very tall man out there as well.
Because they may need him to bowl. Remember, he has a few overs available to him. So in a number of ways, this could be a very crucial moment in the game. So Reefer's figures just spoiled there a little bit. He now has naught for 15. But he's in his 3rd over. So still a very good spell on his part.
Well, again, things don't seem to be looking the greatest. Just noticed, I don't know if it's precautionary, but I've just noticed they brought this stretcher out.
And they have the magic spray. And it just kind of highlights the fact that the modern game, even feeling on the boundary is something that you kind of practice. You can't just take it for granted that you'll just go out there and do well out there. It's almost like baseball, trying to run around and there are all these walls close by. You kind of like, what they've done with those walls, they put a warning track. So once you hit the gravel, you know you're close to the wall. So it kind of gives you a guide as to how far, how much more room you have. Here, you don't have any warning. It's just the normal grass, but you kind of practice it, and you know how to take a look before anything else, and kind of gauge where you are. He probably kept his eyes on the ball, never saw the rope. It'd be interesting to see how it affects his bowling if he's asked to bowl.
Reefer most likely will bowl out. So just 2 more overs to be found, either from Castro or Ram Logan, still yet to bowl.
He is again, this time he has to run in, and the man who replaced Castro out there cannot get to it, and they're able to come up with a, and that is Turton out there again. So Turton has had a tough day. A couple catches that went just over his head, and now one that dropped well in front of him, and then he's kicking the ball. I don't think the bowler is very happy.
Yeah, Luke Ali is following Christian Turton all around the ground.
And there it is. Castro takes the catch. So they brought him in to get him away from the ropes and in the right place at the right time. And he accounts for Luke Ali with a brilliant catch.
Whether he took the catch previously or took it now, he's taken the main man in Luke Ali. So a very big breakthrough here. Difficult now for Merryboys with Chin still quite new at the crease and Justin Manick also coming out there.
Justin Manick has shown over time that he can play shots, but this is a tough ask for them now. So 154 for 5 now. So they still need to get that equation down. 38 from 20. And 2 relatively new batters at the crease. And they're going for the second run. He's going to have to hurry. And they do. And that's good running again. We're seeing that sort of improvement in the running between the wickets. Now, earlier, they would have been taking 1 run for that. But because of the urgency of the moment and the need for runs, for quick runs, 1 can be turned into 2s.
Well, this time it'll just be 1 to finish the 17th over. 137 for 5. So that equation, 35 from 18. Breakthrough coming in that over, but still quite a bit of runs. So run rate still in check. But the wicket of the main man has fallen. So good signs now as we do see Castro marking his run up.
Yeah, it's going to be important for him to do well with the ball here now. He's taking a catch, so that probably would make him feel a little bit better. And not only did he take a catch, also was the important wicket of Ali, the top scorer. So that should do him as confidence a world of good. And that's not what was required there. That's a short ball and put away nicely. And Manik.
Well, that one does Manik's confidence a world of good.
Yeah, just sat up there. And say, hit me if you can.
If you're going to try the short ball at this stage, it has to be well targeted.
If you're going to bowl short at all, put the fine leg back. Okay, bring him up in the circle there, asking for trouble. They should get a second here if they hurry. And Castro is struggling with that ankle.
That's even a bit more perplexing given that you would try the short ball when he's not quite at full tilt.
And again, I think it's his left ankle, and that's the plant ankle. So this could be a tough over for him. And again, so Chin doing his bit here. The youngsters, the Merryboys youths are not giving up. They're still pushing, trying to make it as interesting as possible. 144 for 5 now. 28 from 15 balls.
Spectacular shot there from Gerard Chin.
That will help. So that brings it down to 24 required now.
They at that time straying a bit too full. Width on offer as well.
It has to be the ankle because he can't really plant as he normally would without some discomfort. And I'm sure with some apprehension as well.
Of course, you also understand the difficulty from Captain Ali's perspective. Might have wanted to try Castro here just to make sure if he's well and good. And then if he's not quite up to full tilt, then maybe try Ram Logan. But of course, you don't want to be introducing a new bowler into the attack 19th or 20th over.
So they probably got to run off almost every ball in that over. 150 on the board now. It's 150 for 5.
Raymond Reefer is persisted with from this end. Again, keeping it very wide. This is definitely the key over at this stage. Has to leave enough in that final over to defend. Oh, brilliant delivery, brilliant Yorker. Invaluable. And comes down to these last 2 overs. So just 2 runs from the over so far. In the air. How far is it gone? It's gone over the boundary line. So 4 runs. Vital here for Justin Manick. He's been exactly where Merryboys would want him to be at this stage. He's producing some invaluable runs for them. The equation 16 now from 8 deliveries. 2 runs a ball. Good change up. Back of a length. Wasn't ready for that one, Justin Manick. What a brilliant game this has been. When you really think back, first innings was entertainment all around. Runs and wickets at a canter. And here as well, it's coming down to the last over. Can it come down to the last ball? Brilliant Yorker again from Raymond Reefer. Completes his spell. 1 for 27. Required runs off the final over. It's going to be 15. Certainly, he's done a brilliant job in that penultimate over of giving his last over bowler quite a good chance. So not quite on time with their overs, the Marchin Patriots. Umpire there just signaling that this final over, they are going to have to bring 1 extra fielder inside the ring. They've brought that cover fielder in. So deep fielders at long off, quite wide, long on. Deep mid wicket and backward square. And bowls him. First delivery. Brilliant start to this over here from Tishon Castro and for the Marchin Patriots. That's exactly what they would have wanted in the Marchin Patriots dugout, this first delivery. And it's far from anything that Merryboys would have wanted to see in this over. Yeah, he wasn't quite his best in that previous over. Just got the blood flowing again And now it's that one bang on target. Looked to be just below the top of off, hitting that off stump and castling Justin Manick. And even more key there for Marchin Patriots is that Justin Manick was the batter who was striking it a bit more powerfully. Chin was just a bit more finding his groove, was playing a few funky shots, but wasn't quite powering it all the way to the boundary. Now at this stage, requiring 15 in 5, are going to have to find that boundary on a few occasions. So Amir Ali now makes his way out there. Left-hander, so does make the fielders have to shuffle around a bit. Keeps that one very wide, makes him have to reach for it, and they look at trying to reach for a second, but in the end decide against it. Brings Gerard Chin back on strike. Think about what's going through his mind. Not too long ago, he would have been sat in the dugout looking at what looked to be quite an easy run chase. Now he's out there in the heat of the battle. Deposited this time. That went high and long and all the way for 6. Real composure here being shown by Chin. What a shot that was. Looked as if he tried a slower ball, but it was full and in the slot. Really hit that one very hard. So now 8 runs required in 3 balls. No one knows where this one is headed. Short this time, and again has gone and dropped it. So they come back for 2 that time. 6 in 2 now. A big blow will finish it. And 2 4s will also take them there. Important thing for Merryboys is that Gerard Chin is currently on strike. Short ball attempted again. And very well directed from Castro. Was very difficult for Chin to make any contact with that. It was right up near his head. So now it's only one shot, one result that can come off of Gerard Chin's bat. Has to be 6 and only 6. A few words from Adrian Ali towards Castro. Captain having his say. No change to the field. And slaps that one. Goes very far. Goes all the way. 6 runs, and in the final delivery, Merryboys have eventually taken this one home by 4 wickets. Started off that run chase with real commanding power. Had a bit of a shaky time in the middle. But now, just look at those celebrations. They all feel it. What a game we've had here for the first match of this T20 festival today. And there's going to be more action coming your way in a short time as well. That second match between PowerGen and Victoria get underway just about 7 or 7:10. We do await the revised confirmation of that start time. Do stay tuned for the presentation, which will be starting very shortly. And of course, stay tuned for that second match. But as from up here, that's thank you and do stay tuned.
takes this opportunity to sincerely thank the American community, defending on night riders, and Queen's Park Cricket Club for their valuable support of this T20 Festival 2026 and their continued investment in local cricket. At this point in time, I was going to invite Mr. Jacob Poirier, Secretary of the Community of the National Cricket Board, to help us with the presentation of the plan of the National Board. And for this, the encounter goes to best member of Marchin Patriots, Luke Ali. From the Merryboys team, I left from Luke Ali, and I think for the Raiders, 54 balls, 9 fours, and a 6. Of course, at this time, we would invite Mr. Luke Ali, the captain of the Marchin Patriots outfit. He announced to the top of the team right now. He must have those games. And this one, just beautifully, what happened in our last season?
I just think that T20, as I said, very unpredictable format. Just like and have something Merryboys to one thing that I have to say that
What's going to be one of the popular?
I know that I was there like 21 stuff. I didn't have any to stay there, back and all that. We went to much for 9 times back, so that's coming up again. I mean, even 9 times for a couple of stuff in the last couple of years, and last time to Italy and constantly is stuff. So, guys from the other, they know what they have to do for the tournament. So that's something that was really a final against Victoria. And we look forward to that last preliminary game.
Let's invite the winning captain here this evening to ask you from the Merryboys team. You had it, and you kind of let it slip, and then you let it come at the end. What does this victory, this performance, tell you about your team?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you felt at level of 171. You knew you needed to get to 172. How you felt that you have this game?
Yeah, I mean, we really scored. Because I was coming back in the back. Every now and then we were back and forth. We have another starting cross. There's about 40 people and another starting.
Final over. You felt that you could pull it off?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously there, but we have to just get in back end. So, we want to get out there.
A final victory is that you are the captain of the Victoria's Merryboys cricket team. Don't go anywhere, folks. You're only at the Climax stage because coming up in the third line, you have another interesting encounter for you against Victoria. That's coming up